She is an accomplished educationist having 25 years of experience, having in-depth knowledge in successfully managing pre-primary and primary departments of leading schools. The great mentors warmly welcome Ms. Sheba Thapar for talk show session. Ms. Sheba is MSc Mathematics, B.Ed. Graduated from St. Stephen's College Delhi and has completed certification course from IIT Delhi. She has a proven ability to create and monitor policies and practices that promote a safe learning environment, ensure a school culture that encourages continuous improvements for teachers and students. She believes in developing an environment that encourages open communication with colleagues, students, and parents. Her expertise lies in creation and implementation of lesson plans with focus on student learning and teachers' development. During the lockdown, she successfully implemented many activities for the students, teachers and parents like webinars, podcasts, virtual play dates, bonding over breakfast sessions for students, training the teachers and updates on latest apps, show and tell, virtual trips, inter-school competitions, virtual annual production, life skills lessons, fun with science and buddy mentoring online program. Due to her immense involvement during virtual learning, she had been awarded various prestigious awards as under Leadership Award in Education 2021 for brilliantly facilitating the digital transformation during the pandemic. APAC Education Leadership Award 2021 Inches Recognition of an Exceptional Leader. Excellence Award for Ambassador of the School organized by National Career Counselors Network Award for being an Exemplary EduLeader 2021 organized by Global School Leaders Consortium. Award for facilitating as a moderator in the International Education Convergence 2021. As the founder-director of Sacredstep Experiential Learning, she strives to bring teaching practices, methods, interdisciplinary curriculum, life skill education in the pre-primary years, training them for critical thinking and decision-making process right in the early years. She strongly believes that if the first step taken is right, the rest of the journey falls in the right direction and the life's mission starts.
Hello friends, she is an accomplished educationist having 25 years of experience, having in-depth knowledge in successfully managing pre-primary and primary departments of leading schools. On behalf of the great mentors, Ms. Sushil Sinha warmly welcomes Ms. Sheba Thapar ma'am for today's talk show session. Thanks ma'am for giving your valuable time and being with us. Thank a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha. It's such a pleasure to be a part of the Great Mentors team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. First, we would like to go with your professional journey. How you plan to start your own venture and all.
Yeah, Mr. Sinha, as you know that it's been almost 25 years I've been into the education sector. And I work with different schools, handling children who are in the pre-primary, primary department, also managed to the extent the children who are in grade, who are in grade 11th and 12th, teaching mathematics to those children. So I already got that experience, what the school is like, what is the admin role, what are the business prospects, So what is the curriculum to be, most of all, and of course, how to handle the parents. So with these qualities, I think that gave me a little more confidence. And I think the best of all was my husband behind this, wherein he kind of motivated me and my parents, because my parents are also from the education sector. So I think it's an overall combination of the family and my own, self, which gave me more confidence to, start up my own venture in Gurgaon. And by God's grace, of course.
Great, ma'am. You started with pre-primary section. Was there any
Correct.
particular motive behind that?
See, to be very honest, I entered this profession by chance, not by choice, right?
Okay.
So my mother was main force of inspiration, who got me to this particular sector. And now I thank her that, yes, I'm in the correct and the right profession. So it was in a corporate organization that I worked with, but then because of the long working hours, my mother kind of inclined me to join a school. And then I joined the school that I was a part of, that is Queen Mary's School. And of course, with lack of so much of professional degrees, I could enter only the pre-primary department, wherein, the school management focuses on the care taking of the child, the love and affection. So all those aspects were there. And then I entered. And of course, my forte was also singing and music, which kind of, elevated me to the level. And then I started with a pre-primary school. And then in another 6 months, because I was pursuing my B.Ed and MSc mathematics later. So it gave me a jump, and I entered the middle school segments wherein science and maths were my teaching subjects. And after that, the journey was endless, and still it's going. It's learning in every environment that I'm going. And yes, I'm enjoying this whole journey of education sector. Thank you.
Great, ma'am. What do you think? Because you have started with primary, what do you think? What exactly the things are required to be taught and to be instilled in the kids? Because you have caught up with very sensitive stage. They are very sensitive generation. So what kind of things you feel that is more required for them to be taught, to be instilled, and like that?
Yes, Mr. Sinha, what I feel is for a pre-primary segment, the child who's entering the school for the first time, I think first and the foremost is the happiness factor, especially now after 2 years when the child is almost at home with their parents. The definition of school for them is totally different. For them, because of the online classes, it's just opening up a laptop. That's the definition of a school. They haven't seen the live school. So they'll be entering the school for the first time. So I think in my new school and the new venture at Gurgaon also, I started with, the happiness factor, which is each child should be happy to come to school. That's the motto of the school. Secondly, of course, is the safety and security for each child. And that's the reason we are always, we are providing the CCTV access to the parents also. Because more than the children, I think it's more of parents settling also to be done at this stage. Because, parents are also so much of attachment is there. So that separation anxiety would surely be there for both the segments, the child and the parent both. So I think it's also important for parents to be settled, once they're sending the child to a new environment. So we have provided the CCTV access to the parents, wherein they can have the live CCTV, the live telecast of what the child is doing in the class. So I think safety and the security part are the foremost. And what I believe is that, this generation now, post-COVID, they would be requiring a lot of stamina. They require a lot of energy. Their schedule have been hampered. They've been getting up late. They are confined to their beds. They are not having the sunlight. They are confined to the indoor spaces. So I think that physical fitness and that, their attachment towards nature is very important. So we plan to have a lot of open spaces wherein we have the open air amphitheater for them, sandpit, which is open, traffic park. So it's more of experiential activities, which I feel that hands-on activities are much more required because, gone are the days of the chalk and talk methodology when we were in school. We used to just look at the teacher. It used to be a monologue. But after, the post-COVID, I think children know it all. Through the online platform, they've changed their accents, they are totally into the rhyme time. There are so many platforms of YouTubes available. So I think the whole system has gone, for a toss, and children know better than what each and every teacher would be knowing. And, to the extent that the children have explored a lot of GK channels, wherein they know more than what the teacher knows. So I think teachers need to be more alert and more outgoing towards what the kind of question is each child would be asking each and every teacher. So I think that is more required. And of course, to add on to that, the nutrition part is very important for these young children, wherein, how and what is to be eaten, the right kind of food, because they've been eating all kind of junk food right now. So I think it's more important to educate them with the kind of healthy food which is there. Of course, connecting with nature, how each plant grows. I think it's very important for them, for us to make them, go to maybe a gardening area, make them sow a seed, and so they learn under the sun. They should have a lot of sunlight, I think. So we've got a lot of outdoor spaces wherein, each child would be doing some activity outdoors plus indoors also. So I think these are the requirements for the pre-primary children. Of course, the kind of writing skills, which are very much important. And I think there has been a gap in the learning system. Child has not been given the sufficient education. The kind of parents that I deal with, we come across children of 3+ age where speech had been a problem, because for them coming to school is peers are the main source of inspiration for children. They learn from the peers, they learn from each and every child around them. So I think that had been a miss. So I believe once when things go positive, we are all looking forward for the children to come, and it's going to be a treat to the eye when they come, because they will be having the best of the infrastructure here, what we have come up with. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I think a new generation children would be there.
Absolutely.
That there is always a time when the things change, and I think it's a time when a new generation who are well versed with the technology. Even nowadays, small children that they know very well how to operate a laptop or any of the digital device, and they have already
Yes.
explored a lot. So new generation is coming to the schools post COVID era.
Correct.
Ma'am, why is it important to engage a child in learning?
Okay, so engagement with children. See, learning had never been something new for a child. They already learn when they are, at the time of birth. So I believe that, to develop that is very important, especially in the early years. And when we're talking about engagement, it's a time that children are, actively involved with material, or maybe a person, or maybe a situation. We give them some kind of a situation, or maybe a particular prop that they are actively engaged. So that's what is called engagement when we're talking about the engagement part. And to help them develop the lifelong skills, this is very important, that they are engaged and they are focused and they are motivated, and reaching out to the child's interest, that will encourage them in learning. See, a child will not be able to learn till the time you show him what is his interest, or you develop particular kind of interest, or you make that kind of environment around the child so that he is inclined towards learning that. So I think for a child to be engaged, it's very important that you develop that kind of a environment, a positive atmosphere which encourages them, a positive well-being, physical and emotional growth, which is a part of that, the learning engagement exercise. So I think it's very important to imbibe that particular kind of engagement, of learning exercise. It's very important to create that particular environment. So that's what I feel, that it's very important, and it goes a long way when we talk about them. When they are reaching the higher age group children, it's very important for making them engage. And first and foremost is to make them learn how to engage in a particular setup. So that's what my input is for this question.
Thank you, ma'am. And I think post NEP, it is going to be more specific. Earlier, the things were not so well planned, because these curriculum lower than 5 years was not well organized. But post NEP, what they have written in a well mannered, so learning of these children, that may be a bit different than earlier.
Correct. So it's going to be more of structured approach, which I can know of, because so far you see that there were a lot of daycares and preschools which were operational in a non-structured. If you go to any apartment in a particular zone, you will find that anybody was operating it. So it's very important that NEP 2020 has come up with a structured approach even for Anganwadis. So I think that is something very positive, so that it's going to be a very structured, every kind of the rules and regulations will be clear, and they'll be strict, because these are very important. When we talk about the pre-primary, the formative years are very important part of a child's life. So I believe that it's very good that NEP 2020 has been launched, and we are all looking forward for the execution.
Thank you, ma'am. And another question is, when students are in their formative years of learning, their attention span is very less. How would you engage the pre-scholars in your school?
See, attention span, of course, the credit goes to the teacher. How well versed the teacher is to engage the child, and of course the kind of environment that the child is studying. For example, if I'm teaching him some kind of a play modeling, or maybe a story time, let's say a story time, if I'm doing in a class, a child might not like it. If I'm talking about a nature walk, maybe I take him out to a park or maybe an amphitheater, and then I conduct the storytelling session with the props. I think that will add on to the kind of focus for a particular child. So I think it's the environment, And it's of course the kind of, the teacher, how well versed she is, how much of the how much can she attract each and every child, how much can she engage each and every child. So that's also important. We just can't have a monologue. It has to be a two-way communication, even with the pre-primary children, I believe. So it is very important for each and every child, when we are talking about that, each and every child is also engaged. Teacher has to have some kind of a questions for him, so that they are alert whenever they have been talked about a particular theme or any kind of a story for incident. It has to be some kind of attention taken from them, or maybe some kind of engagement, I would say. Each and every child should be given that importance, that yes, he has been taken as an input towards a particular kind of a moral that we are making him do in a particular storytelling. So that's what I could say, that that is very important for a particular environment. Of course, the teacher is the first point of information when we're talking about handling the child after the mother. So how effective the teacher is, how much energetic the teacher is, how much communicative the teacher is, I think it all depends on that kind of an atmosphere.
Great, ma'am. Next point is, do you feel that parents play a significant role in engaging kids at home, and how way? That is
100%.
that is equally important, because most of the time, it's okay. Parents should involve, and they have to, but how way? That is very important. A proper
100%, I
guidance,
think.
a
Yes,
proper
yes,
guidance
yes.
for them.
Yes. So see, I think post these 2 years which had gone by, parents would have realized how much important it is, for a teacher, pre-primary teacher, to handle a particular child, and that too not one, but around 15 children if they are there in the class. So of course that engagement exercise, I'm sure parent would have automatically learned in these 2 years. So, like I've said that, engaging a child, it's very important, and especially parents' engagement is very important, because it's the first time, parents are the, first teacher for a child. A mother is the first teacher, I would say. So it is very important that, each and every parent, first of all, of course, parent have to leave the mobiles away, which I see that, they are stuck in the professional and their personal setup, wherein mobiles, they are a part of, holding them, and then they are talking to the child, and again they are scrolling into the mobile. So I think that has to be 100%, that attention need to be given to the child. Maybe half an hour a day, I think that is also good enough, wherein they can keep away their mobiles, they can shut all their professional front, and of course they have to have that mentally they need to be with the child, not only physically but also mentally. I think that is very important. So when we're talking about a child engagement exercise, the parent can be with the child, he can have a storytelling, he can have a reading time in the end. First of all, to get up in the morning, I think there can be a lot of exercises, kind of physical fitness things, wherein a child will be motivated. First and the foremost, the parent has to get up early. He has to have his own schedule. Then comes the child. So I think it's very important for parents to first introspect on their own schedules, and then they can incorporate that with the child. And the child would definitely, they learn by visual learning. They observe. They are very good observers. So they might not say that to the parent, but then they look what time the parents are getting up. When you're an early riser, I'm sure your children would be getting up early also. So it is very important for the parent to first maintain their own schedule, and then they can pass on to the child. That is important. And of course there are various ways that we can do right from the starting, that I've told you: physical fitness, some kind of puzzles that they can engage with, maybe indoor games, outdoor games, some kind of a challenge, maybe skipping challenge can be done, yoga time can be done. And of course a kind of a thing that, a usual life skills can be taught such beautifully when the child is, there, when the mother has to set up a table, let's say a dining table, where the child can be there helping the mother out in setting up the table, maybe folding the clothes, to be very basic. Pre-primary children, they've all done it in my previous schools, where we have incorporated a lot of life skill lessons. So in this way, I think the parent can also get the maximum out of the child, and they can learn those life skills in their day-to-day, practice. So I think it is very important. Let's keep it just half an hour a child. I think that's the minimum that we can give, we can afford. But then, yes, we want to have, some kind of a time which can be associated only for that child. So I think that is very important for each and every parent.
Very true, ma'am. Most of the time they expect everything from their child without engaging themselves. That's again a problem. Thank a lot for giving such an important points and suggestion. Definitely it may help to those parents as well.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, the next point is kindly share few tips for teachers that will help you learn how to make lessons fun and engaging in an online classroom. You may, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the first thing I would say is that, you can start with a very nice bonding over breakfast sessions wherein, teacher is doing a breakfast and child is doing a breakfast on the other side of the table. So everywhere that you're going, you're teaching a child. Maybe you're teaching a child to hold maybe when we are talking about a formative year, you're telling them the dining etiquettes. So it's very important, and it will solve the purpose of, managing the time effectively when we are, having a breakfast together. To start with that, then comes the assembly time. It's very important to engage each and every child. You can give them a schedule, a topic, for example, maybe a pre-planned topic for each child to be, speaking up. Even on an online platform, you can conduct so many things wherein, that public speaking skills can be a part of, and the child can be, engaged. So I think that is very important when we are talking about an online platform. We've been doing things like, assembly time. We've done things like the annual function on an online platform, bonding over breakfast sessions. Then when we're talking about coffee mornings with parents, where we have invited parents to be a part of that, because, without parents, you can't succeed when we're talking about a pre-primary child. So many activities like that. So now when we are talking about a virtual screen time, we can reduce that to a podcasting, which is, much of a talk of the town when we are doing the podcasting. It's not any virtual time that we are talking about. It's something that we are talking. We are making the child explore and talk through a public speaking format. So many parents were, complaining of the virtual. So much of time has been, wasted, and there's so much of impact on the eyes. So I think to do away with that, we can start with podcast, where the child can do a story enactment, maybe a storytelling, maybe on a theme. For example, if it's 26th of January, the child can talk about the leaders. So that way, it has to be moving ahead with time. I think this generation is, they are much equipped to manage the technology. So we need to map ourselves with that. I think the first thing for the teachers is to know technology. So I think that is very important. I've seen schools like, wherein grade 12 child is teaching the teacher who's been there. So it's very important. Learning never goes waste. So in case if the teacher feels that they need to seek an advice or a suggestion from a student, I think that should be open, openly done. She should not feel shy about it. So I think we should be open for learning new things, and that is something that will, go with us on a long way. So I think for teachers, first of all, is of course to open up to learn new things. Even if the child or maybe a student is teaching them, they should be very positive to take their inputs. And of course, through parents also, there have been parents who have been volunteering so well. When we talked about the play dates, the play date which were planned in an offline platform have been converted to an online platform, where parents also know how it is to handle a particular class on an online platform. Generally parents don't know that unless and until they come into that, those shoes of a teacher. So I think it's very important for parents also. Parent partnership is very important when we are talking about online platform, because that's going to give you the exact feedback of what's happening on the other side of the laptop. So I think it's an overall combination of the teacher to be equipped, the parent to be be a part of a partnership team when we talk about student teacher parent association. Yes, that's what.
The great part is, man, you are trying to engage all the stakeholders simultaneously. Whether we talk about school teachers, whether we talk about students, or we talk about parents, and of course,
Correct.
the learning needs engagement of all these stakeholders at the same time. And I think you are putting your best efforts, and definitely it would be recognized in due course of time. Thank you so much
Thank you, Mr.
for all
Sinha.
your
It's a
efforts.
pleasure connecting with you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
and best wishes to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving your time. Thank a lot.
Pleasure.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you.